And you are listening to KOPN Columbia 89.5 FM. My name is Mike Hagan. It's just about 9 o'clock on Friday morning, and that means that once again it is time for Open Mic Radio. We're going to get things going with a little bit of music right away here, and we'll be back in just a few minutes with myself and my guest. Hit it there, bubba. Alrighty, there you go. Welcome to the program, everybody. It's Open Mic Radio, and you're listening to it once again on KOPN Columbia 89.5 FM. It is Friday, the 1st of March, 2019. Nice day, it looks like, for Friday in Columbia. Tomorrow, too, but that's going to be it, as the weather looks to be getting really cold again on Sunday for a couple days. So enjoy it while you can. A lot going on this weekend. It's First Friday, and that always brings a lot of art and music and culture to Columbia here. In addition, this weekend we've got the True False Film Festival happening, and that always brings a ton of people to town. So get out there and do it, whatever you've got planned. Enjoy it, and stay warm on Sunday, okay? Good to be with you this morning. I hope things are going well for you. I'm excited to have Alex Campbell-Graves with me this morning. You might better know Alex by the name DJ Requiem. We'll talk with him, and he's going to spin some tunes for us, along with that first one that was a new piece of music, apparently, huh, Alex?
Yeah, it's an original I'd been working on and revisited a few days ago. So
all right. Well, we'll learn more about Alex and a couple other things in a little bit, but we'll also do a rundown of some of the things that are happening around town tonight and tomorrow. I'll talk mostly about music and leave the more sophisticated stuff to Miss Diana Moxon, who will bring you Speaking of the Arts following this program at 10 o'clock. Swing on by if you're in the area, 915 East Broadway. Doors always open, as you know, Fridays at 9. And one more thing before we get going here, a big thank you to Justin Hickerson for coming down and hanging out with me last week. He is the best and involved in some really good projects around town. Justin is a really skilled drummer, but as we learned last week, he's also a songwriter and a multi-instrumentalist. And you can see Justin with Paul Weber and the Scrappers. You can see him with the Ridge Runners. He sits in with the Daves often enough, and hopefully another project yet to be named that he mentioned last week. So real cool and great to have Justin down here. And yeah, okay, let's say hello, though, today to our guest. In the studio with me is Mr. Alex Campbell-Graves, a.k.a. DJ Requiem. How you doing this morning, Alex?
Great. great. How you doing?
I'm good. I appreciate you coming down on a chilly Friday morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
I didn't know, knowing you gigged last night.
Yeah. I did my Thursdays at the social room here in town. It's called. We switch the party up every semester, so it was Super Requiem World. Now it's Get Wrecked every
Super
Thursday.
Requiem World. Now Get Wrecked, and that's Thursday nights at
the social room.
At the social room. All right. How long you been doing that?
About 8 months now.
You're gonna say quite a while, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. On and off. I just started. This last year back with the social room. I'd worked there a few years beforehand, and with my busy gigging schedule, I had to take some time off from working with them and going around and traveling and stuff like that. So,
all right. Well, look, I want to hear some more music before we get too deeply into our conversation. So, why don't you play something else for us here, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more. Okay?
All right. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. This is Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia. My guest is Alex Campbell-Graves, DJ Requiem, and he's going to jam one for us here. All right, that's how we get your blood pumping on a Friday morning with a little bit of electronic music from the DJ Requiem himself. All right, I am pleased to say that this is new music. I don't think anyone's ever heard that before. Is that right?
That is correct, yeah.
This one and the one you opened the show with?
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
Only my ears have heard those, yeah.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about those two compositions?
The first one, I started working on an EP called the Electronomicon, like the Necronomicon,
right?
Like 6 or 7 years ago, and I had just moved back to Columbia whenever I was working on that first one, and that was whenever the Sexy Sax guy, you can look him up on YouTube. I took that sample of the saxophone from that song, and then I made it with my my fusion of progressive house music and add a little electro synths to it. So
all right,
that's what it became.
And the last one you played just now?
That one was one that I worked on. I started actually a year and a half ago, and funny story, my old computer, my studio computer that I was working on all my music on, got broken, my old MacBook, and I just got the hard drive taken out. So I was like going through it, and I was like, wow, I have so many songs I never finished or released or anything. So I just started finishing them up, and those are the first two that I grabbed off of there. And I was like, I'm gonna try and get these out on the radio. So.
And there's a few more in there too, huh?
Oh yeah, there's plenty. I think 120 songs total that I started and just been working on. I mean, some of them are just simple bass lines, or some of them are just synths so far, but they all have a little bit of potential to become something.
Incredible. All right, so as I said, everybody, my guest is Alex Campbell-Graves. He goes by DJ Requiem. He performs all around mid-Missouri here, and we'll talk to him a little bit about kind of where he's performed with some really remarkable talent over the time that he's been doing this. But before we get there, a little bit about your background. Where are you from originally?
I'm from here, born and raised, Columbia, Missouri. Yeah.
All right. Where'd you go to school?
Hickman and Rockbridge.
Whoa!
So, a little bit of both. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think I told you I got a son who's at Hickman, just started as a freshman.
Yeah.
And I have to say congratulations. He made the baseball team yesterday, so I'm real proud of him. And and Hickman's got a great baseball program. I'm looking forward to seeing those kids play. So, all right. So Hickman and Rockbridge, and born and raised Columbia.
Yes, sir.
All right. How'd you get into music? Tell me a little bit about your musical background.
I've always been kind of musically inclined and interested in the art of turntablism and DJing and, going to house parties when I was in high school and stuff like that, and seeing a couple of the old school DJs around town doing their thing. But what really got me into it was back in 2008. My mother passed away. Sad story. So
okay,
break out the Kleenexes. Actually, I was the one that found her, and it gave me a post-traumatic stress syndrome. So music is what got me back into integrating back around my friends and whatnot. And I had spent all the money I had on my first DJ setup and started teaching myself, and it kind of got me back into wanting to be a person again, so, and now I never knew it would take me as far as it has, obviously, which is the craziest part. But I've built a career out of it, and I've played with like the biggest names in the business. So
when did that happen? I'm sorry, that was around 2008 when you got going with it. Well, congratulations. I know it's a difficult thing when you have to go through something like that, but definitely. Also it can be transformative once you move through it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Well, that's what happened to you apparently. So, okay, so early influences. What are your favorite styles of music, and where'd you kind of come up with the idea to put your own stuff together as a DJ?
I've always been I'm so eclectic, with like everything I listen to. My girlfriend, actually, she's gotten me turned on to like folk music lately. So like I span all genres, with everything I listen to. But I don't know. I just get so much drive from everyone, especially a lot of the local scene people. Like, everyone's so unique and has their own style, and you just want to kind of, it's just like, putting a pen to paper. You start working on something and see where it goes. And for me, originally it was a lot of like what we were just listening to. My originals, they were like electro house, stuff like that. But I also do a lot of hip hop turntablism and scratching and stuff like that whenever I'm playing live shows. So I don't know, it's just whatever I'm feeling for the day, I guess.
Yeah. The local scene is something that I always ask people about. And since you brought it up, might as well talk about it now.
Yeah.
What do you make, just in general, of the local music scene here?
I think we have a lot of talent in Columbia. I know just because I'm on the radio, I'm not just saying that, but I really think we have so much talent here in Columbia. my buddy Jacob, we were just talking about with Loose Loose.
Sure.
You know, they're up and coming like jazz fusion band, and
they'll be here again next week.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, they've just been killing the scene lately. Who else? A lot of local hip hop acts. Von Ghost, and have you heard of him?
No.
Von Ghost, he's a local guy. He's got some really good stuff out. He's also been making his own instrumentals and stuff. I actually saw him at a beat battle a couple months ago.
Right.
So,
I gotta write his name down. I get him out here on the program.
Yeah, definitely.
Von Ghost.
Von Ghost. Yeah, his name's Mason. Great guy. I don't know. There's just too many to count. You know?
Yeah. No,
and,
I see it too. Yeah.
And it's great, like being able to go out on a weekly and just everyone kind of collaborating and getting together and supporting each other. That's the biggest part of the community that I really thrive on and enjoy is just how much we all come out and support each other. And you know, it's just I don't know. It's kind of surreal. So.
How did you get into the DJ scene, even though you were, you just bought the equipment and started?
Yeah, so I bought the equipment. I didn't know what I was doing, obviously. I had hit up a couple of my friends who were already in the scene, and they were just like kind of giving me pointers on, you should buy this, you should buy this. So I kind of Frankensteined my whole original DJ setup together just that way by listening to everyone else's input rather than doing the research myself. So, because I was just wanting to jump into it, you know?
Right.
And that's what got me into turntablism, because I bought a set of turntables and a mixer and started messing around for a couple months.
For people who are unaware, describe what turntablism actually means.
Turntablism is the art. So it kind of goes with is a DJ an instrumentalist or a musician or you know like
let me jump in really quickly.
Yeah.
You mentioned Loose Loose, and you and I were talking off the air about them a little bit, but Jacob, the guy who plays drums for them, is also a DJ.
Yeah.
And he and I had a little bit of a conversation on the air about this exact thing, and I'd like you to kind of continue there. The idea of DJ as performance art with actual instrumentation, and in contrast to a band with guitars and drums, etc., but also as an art form.
Yeah, it's definitely an art form. It's a really... People don't understand the amount of skill and practice that goes into the art form, whether it being, your 2-click flares or, your chirps. There's thousands of different scratch styles. But what you do with the samples that you pick out meticulously and, what beats you put them over or how you just fuse tracks together, make live mashups and stuff like that. That's where the fun of it is, It's not just mixing two songs together. It's cohesively making two songs sound completely different and bringing them together and then having to do that for hours at a time. So that's how you make a set, and that's the fun of being a DJ to me. Being able to do things on the fly and kind of just vibing with everyone in the room, trying to make the room have one feeling, to try to make everyone feel how you're feeling, essentially, So that's probably my favorite part of it. And I believe strongly that it is an art form that people need to respect, because a lot of people just say, you're just push and play, whatever. No, it's not that at all.
Right.
Some people are like that, and I don't knock the hustle, but I put a lot of work into what I do. So.
Yeah, if you ever see Requiem perform live, you will see that he's not just pushing buttons. There's a lot going on back there, and it's actually quite enjoyable to watch. And I guess that's part of it too, right?
Yeah, it's the whole experience, I have people. Well, it's funny because people come up to me nightly at my gigs, and they just kind of stare at my hands, or they're like, "How is he doing this?" And I just love that, and I'm like, "Hey, yeah, don't be shy," because I'm easy to work with. I love being around people, so whenever people do that, I'm like, "Hey, why don't you hop up here with me and just watch for a second?" They're like, "This is so cool," And it's just fun because I remember being that kid a long time ago that would just stand there and be like, teach me, you know. Like,
I was going to ask, did you have a feel for it before you actually started doing it professionally? Like, even before you got your equipment, were you kind of in your head putting songs together and mixing things like that?
You know, I thought I was, like, so I thought that I had it all down. I was like, I'm gonna be as big as Tiesto, you know, like, I'm gonna be, you know, mixing this song, and I was like, I didn't even know what a BPM was whenever I first started DJing. And
for those unfamiliar, it's
a beats per minute.
Beats per minute, yeah.
And that is how you sync up your songs manually, is to, you know, beat match and try and get your songs flawlessly mixed together with their BPMs. So I had no idea, you know, I didn't realize there was like a science behind it. I thought it was just, you know, all fun and games. And then I was like, I just spent all this money and I have no idea what the heck I'm doing, you know? So, and then whenever I got my first gig, like, that was...
What was your first gig?
It was an after party for Snoop Dogg, and this is like, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Talking about jumping in the water.
Yeah, I got thrown right into it, and it's like... it was so funny. Like, I set up all this brand new equipment, and I was like, yeah, you know, trying to be a BA. And I played horribly, but I had so much fun. Like, and I think that's why other people were kind of vibing with me that night, because I was like train wrecking, which is when the BPMs don't mash up and it sounds like a train wreck. So, you know, like, everything sounded horrible, but everyone could see how much fun I was having.
That's great.
The three friends that I had were, you know, with me. Like, I didn't really pay attention to everybody else, but it was amazing. So
incredible.
I was
That is fantastic. When was that?
This was early 2009.
Okay.
So I'd only been DJing for a couple of months. Like,
and that was when Snoop played here in town, right?
That was like, the third time he had been here.
At the Blue Note.
Yeah, at the Blue Note. And
right.
So, funny story, 2 years ago on my birthday, the owner of the Blue Note, because I've been the house DJ for the Blue Note for about 5 years now, they called me up and they were like, we got a birthday present for you. And I was like, what? And I got to play with Snoop Dogg. So that was like one of my really fun birthday shows that I have had over the last few years. Every year it gets kind of bigger and bigger for my birthday shows, and that was awesome.
What time of year is your birthday show?
September 21st.
Oh, right on the equinox.
The autumnal equinox. Yeah,
very nice. That's a great day.
Yeah.
Wow, incredible. You got some great stuff going. Speaking of Snoop Dogg, you've performed along with some other quite well-known
hip-hop and EDM artists. Twista, for do you ever heard of Do or Die? Back in the day?
Sure.
Yeah. Back in the early 2000s, played with them. Post Malone, obviously, love that guy.
Post Malone, one of the newer guys on the scene, but super popular.
Yeah, he's just taking over, just dominating right now. Whenever I played with him, he was still kind of fresh on the scene, you know, still coming up. Whenever his first album.
He hasn't been to Columbia, so where was that at?
That was in Somerset, Wisconsin. I played 2 years back to back at Somerset Music Festival.
Right on.
With Post Malone, Die Antwoord, Steve Aoki, Chance the Rapper, Skrillex,
nice.
You name it. Run the Jewels. They're like one of my favorites right now. Yeah, you know, I got to play, and it's crazy being an artist and getting to meet these people. And
that one with DJ Shadow that's called Nobody Speak. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
right.
DJ Shadow's also. You know, he sold half of his record collection a couple years ago.
What?
Yeah, he posted. On his Facebook, he was having like a yard sale, I guess, at his estate, and he just had half of his record collection out, and he ended up selling it. So it's wild.
All right, so I think let's take a little break here and play some more music. All right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we've got plenty more to talk about with DJ Requiem, Alex Campbell-Graves here, and he's with me for the rest of the hour. We'll be going until about 10 o'clock, and then you can stick around and listen to Diana Moxon. And speaking of the arts, and she'll tell you all about what's happening this weekend. And I'm not sure what else, but you can be surprised when that comes along. All right, we're going to get some music here out of DJ Requiem and be back in a few minutes. It's Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia.
my peace of mind. And when I look up in the skies, it's the honor you created. Nothing else does count for your everlasting love. Oh, shining star, will you smile down on me? Oh, what you are, will you look down on me? Beautiful star, do keep your eyes on me. Oh, what you are, when you look down on me. Despite my greed, you won't adjust me. Times your heart strict, still you love me. I appreciate you, baby. And though you seem so far away, you were so near. I can feel you. The light it dwells within my mind. And I know you're sometimes lonely. Oh, I wish that I could change it. Oh, that I know it's you got me. And I pray my love will give you life to help you breathe, to keep your smile, my shining star. To take my love and live. Oh, shining star, will you smile down on me? Oh, what you are, will you look down on me? You, I feel love. You place your light on me. I feel warm. Oh, shining star, will you smile down on me? Oh, what you are, will you look down on me? Beautiful star, do keep your eyes on me. Oh, what you are, will you look down on me? Make it smile, smile. When you live, I live. When you die, I die. Oh, yeah, you. Ooh, I'm a shining star. Oh, I wanna know what you are.
All right, I love it. It's Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia. My guest is Alex Campbell-Graves, DJ Requiem, you might know him better as, and he's spinning some tunes for us this morning. Good to have you here, Alex. Thanks again for sticking around.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We would like to say hello before we do our little pieces of business here. Hello to Tiffany Griffiths out there, and Mr. David Durnley,
And Ariana, hello.
yeah, and the usual crew. So thanks for listening. Hope you're enjoying the program. All right, I'll let you hit yours, and then I'll do mine.
All right. Tune into Penguin Tracks every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Learn how and when Jill Sheets will be giving away free tickets to Disney's D Acapella at the Stifle Theater in St. Louis on March 8th at 7 p.m. Tune in this Friday to learn more about the giveaway. Or you can listen online at www.kopn.org. Is that good?
That's great. That's great.
I was trying to do my radio voice.
Very well done. Okay, I'm going to do mine now here. All right, check out the new KOPN Daily Online Auction at kopnauction.org. The KOPN Daily Auction Online is a fundraiser for KOPN community where we will provide all kinds... This is extremely poor English anyway. Where we will... I should read these beforehand, you know. You'd think I'd be good enough to do that. And there are two DJs in the room right now, and all the mistakes are coming from my end. I will add that, frankly. So, and that's usually the case. I try so hard to not make mistakes, and I usually make about one mistake per Friday, and it's usually on Diana's show, actually. I'll do it like one thing. I'll be like, God darn it, it was going great until that one thing. And you probably know a little bit about this, the goal and the challenge of actually doing what you would consider a flawless program.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Super challenging, right?
It's impossible.
I mean, there's always like one thing or something, it seems like.
That's what makes it good, though. You know, you look back on it and you're like, oh, I could have done this better. But,
Anyway, back to the auction here, okay? The KOPN Community Auction will be providing all things from awesome to the outrageous. Many of these things will be things that you cannot get anywhere else, like most everything we do here at KOPN. Meals with local celebrities, home concerts, people shaving their heads, and goodness knows what else. Diana, are you shaving your head?
I'm not.
No, I kind of didn't think you'd do that. She might get made up like a drag queen, which was very fun last time that we did the pledge drive, but I don't think she'll shave her head. Anyway, okay, you might want to check it out every day for new items. It's the KOPN Daily Online Auction at kopnauction.org, a fun and easy way to support KOPN Community Radio. All right, back to our guest here, Alex Campbell-Graves. So let's talk a little bit about style. Depending on where you play, I've seen you in a number of different venues and different sort of scenarios, and you change your style sort of appropriately. Talk a little bit about that.
I do theme events with the Blue Note. Shout out to my Blue Note homies.
Yeah. Mike Nolan was here a few weeks ago. We had a great conversation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him. Yeah, he's one of my good buddies. So we aim to not bring the same party, constantly. We always want to switch it up. So, like, I do my 80s versus 90s music video battle, because I also do video DJing. 80s versus 90s, 90s versus 2000s, or we do, prom night, or, like we just did the Thank You Next anti-Valentine's Day party.
Right.
Just a lot of stuff to tailor to the community and, tailor to the specific groups in the community. Like, I'm working on a Motown party right now because,
cool.
I own thousands of records, and I try and on my Thursdays, I'll bring out crates of actual vinyl records, and so people look at me like I'm playing like laser discs or something,
Like, what are those things?
Like, what are these hunks of plastic you're scratching with? But I try and keep true to the old art form, and I'm going to start doing it with some 45s of Motown singles.
Nice.
And do an actual show probably at Rose this summer, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I just love I love being eclectic and switching up my style to where I can be well-rounded in all of the, genres. Whenever I do my, touring and my live shows, I do a lot of, I never stick to the same genre, I'll mix electronic with hip-hop and, dub and, Moomba and all kinds of stuff just to, because I get bored, I don't know, I guess it's the ADD in me, I can't stick to the same genre for too long because I'm like, okay, I've heard enough, for 20 minutes. Now I'm going to switch to some hip hop,
Right.
and that's the fun, challenging myself to, I'm like, what can I do to transition into this, and to make people realize that I'm doing something artsy, like, you know.
Right. Well, a little bit about venues around town that are sort of friendly to your style and things that you do, and places that you play normally. I know the Social Room is one that you play often enough.
Yeah, I do Social Room on Fridays, or Thursdays, sorry. Roxy's, or not Roxy's anymore, it's called the Penguin Piano Bar and Nightclub. I'm there on Fridays now.
So, Jesse, they own that entire building now.
Yes.
So what was the Penguin and then Roxy's up on top is now just one venue?
It's now one entity, and it's the Penguin Piano Bar and Nightclub.
I see, okay.
Yeah, and... yeah, you know, it always does well with a little rebranding and a fresh coat of paint, you know.
Yeah, that'll help anything, you know.
Yeah. That's why that's like me switching up, you know, my themes every semester or every few months, trying to think of things that'll improve my I don't even know what word I'm looking for right now.
Your appeal.
My appeal, yes. There we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still waking up.
Oh, no, honestly, Friday mornings are funny in here because, you know, it seems not the most intuitive time to have live music and people who are in the music scene, because oftentimes, especially on a Thursday night, there's a lot going on. So
yeah,
I get people here, though, every Friday morning at 9, and it's always a little bit of a wake-up call, and it's usually kind of funny, though, too, because everyone's kind of yawning from the night before. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about how you make music. I'm going to call it composition. Is that correct terminology, or would you call it songwriting? How do you describe when you actually build a piece of music?
For me, I like to use the term sound design. So it's a real technical term with music production, you know, and that's essentially what you're doing. You're trying to see, it's wild because a lot of people stick to a different formula, or stick to the same formula rather than and they'll start with like someone will send them a vocal, or they'll have a song that they want to take the vocals from and completely revamp and rebuild the song. So they'll start with the vocal and then work on a synth and then a bass line, and you know, and then add their drums and all that stuff and just kind of layer it together. So for me, I usually start off with my synths, and then, you know, then I'll add the drums, or some, you know, sometimes I actually start with the drums, you know. So yeah. Now that I think about it, I do it differently every time as well. So
is there a legal aspect of it when you're sampling a bit of something from somebody else and then building it into your own stuff?
There is a I cannot remember. There, you can only use, to be able to sell your own music, you can use a sample of a song, but it has to be altered to a certain extent to where, unless you know, contact the
make a deal with the
and,
copyright holder or whatever,
get the rights. But there's a very fine line in the legal system where you can have a certain amount of the song layered within yours to make it your own. Like if you do a remix or a bootleg, if you do a bootleg, I don't think you could sell it. You can release it on like an EP, but you can't sell it. So
Like, the labyrinthian system that we've built, you know, it's crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see. What else do I have to ask? All right. Favorite performances. You've probably seen a whole lot of stuff and been to a lot of places and performed with a lot of, frankly, quite successful people, which means that you're doing quite well yourself, I would have to add. So give me an idea of some of the funnest performances that you've either been a part of or that you've seen.
Let's see. Actually, this was just a standard wedding, because I do a lot of weddings and private events also. But this past year, around my birthday, I had my buddy hit me up, and the show actually comes out in 2 weeks. So I'm actually going to be on a Netflix series.
What?
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I'm on season 3 of Queer Eye on Netflix. I'm not sure which episode yet.
What is it for people who aren't familiar? I've never heard of the program.
It's a series that was in the late or early 2000s called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, but now it's just Queer Eye, and it's on Netflix and owned by Netflix. And they have They take men and women and they better their lives. You know, they make over their homes. They make them over, and they help them in the community and help them with their goals and stuff. So I actually got to DJ a wedding for one of the episodes.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited to see it. I'm a little camera shy, so whenever I see myself or like videos of myself performing, I'm like, but you know, I got to wear a suit, so whatever.
That's exciting, though. Congratulations. That's really cool. All right, so one more time, when is that going to come out?
The release date is March 15th.
March 15th. That's a Friday as well. Mm-hmm. So 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today.
And Queer Eye episode.
Not sure.
All right. But
season 3.
All right, season 3 on March 15th. You can check out Alex on that. That's great. I'm going to have to check that out too. All right, so and we talked about Snoop. We talked about Post Malone. Mm-hmm. Who's Chance the Rapper? My son likes him a lot. I don't think I'm familiar with him.
Chance the Rapper is one of Chicago's greatest stars right now. He actually goes to the town hall meetings, and he just, you know, speaks his mind on the politics of the school system and trying to get more done for not only the African American community but the entire community, the rural, like the Southsiders, you know, and everyone. He's a big advocate for music in the school system, and you know, making sure kids have food, and you know, he donates. He's not signed to he wasn't signed to a record label, but he all the money that he made off of his last couple records he put into his community, and you know, it's just like he's just one of those go-getters, and a shining example of how you should be as an artist. I think.
Awesome. Hey, a listener just asked, are you familiar with DJ Vadim?
Yeah, that sounds exotic.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some of it. I think it's more like Eastern European or Russian or something like that. Yeah. Anyway,
I have not heard of him.
Okay, no go on the DJ Vadim, but hey,
I'll check him out as soon as we're done here.
All right, let's see. Let's play one more piece of music, and then we'll come back and wrap it up with a few more things before we head out, okay?
Okay.
All right, this time we are going to get the buttons right here on my board, and we'll have one from DJ Requiem who's going to decide what he wants to play, and you're listening to it here on Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia. Awesome stuff. Very cool, my friend.
Thank you.
That one's called Tukataka. Wait.
Tukataka, yeah. That's the new name for it, yes.
All right, it's Mike. You're listening to Open Mic Radio on KOPN Columbia. My guest is Alex Campbell-Graves, a.k.a. DJ Requiem. It's been a pleasure having him with me this morning. We've got about 10 more minutes, and we're going to fit one more piece of music in before we roll out of here. So I've got a few more minutes to talk with you. What do you got going on with regard to touring? I know that you play a lot of gigs around here, but you've also been on the road many different places. How do you do that?
I take a lot of so I have a website
yes.
for booking information for weddings, private parties, bar mitzvahs, stuff like that. Go to iamrequiem.com and drop me a line.
Once again, that website, I am
Requiem, REQUIEM.com.
All right.
But yeah, I take a lot of private events and stuff, and then I also do a lot of touring with I play clubs in Chicago. I'm playing.
You've played as far as California.
Yeah, I play in Malibu, California in 3 weeks at the Malibu West Beach Club.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds posh.
Yeah. I'm going to wear
I need to be in Malibu, California about now.
I'm going to wear a white suit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I played Detroit and quite a few other spots. It's just the fun part of being an artist, getting to go to different cities and play new music and see the nation, see the world.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. I want to talk to you a little bit about equipment. You've probably learned a lot over the years now, and I imagine that you don't have probably the exact same setup that you had 8 years ago or 9 years ago when you began, 10 years ago now, 11 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Wow. I'll get it right eventually. But, okay, talk a little bit about equipment.
So for me, I prefer Pioneer. Shout out to Pioneer.
All right, yeah. I mean, paying you for this, they ought to be.
Yeah, they need to be. Yeah, they're spending up on their equipment. But Pioneer, they're just the industry standard,
for turntables, primarily, we're talking about.
Turntables now, since Technique had stopped producing turntables.
A couple Techniques over here on the right side over there.
Are those the 1200s?
I'm not sure. I'll let you look at them after we come off the air. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. We're talking about the two turntables that are over here in the radio station that Requiem just spotted. His eyes lit up too. I got to tell you.
I'm like a gear nerd, so. But yeah, I rock the Pioneer PLX 1000s. They're not belt drive. They just have a good torque, a nice snap for scratching, and they have a lot of the same specs as the Techniques, actually. Mm-hmm. And they make two variations. They make the PLX 1000, PLX 500, but the 500 doesn't have the solid steel core. So with a turntable for performing, you want it to have a good weight. So my turntables are about 35 pounds each. So.
Wow. And your setup is two turntables?
Two turntables and a mixer.
Uh-huh.
Some people will use, a turntable, a mixer, and a launch pad with all the buttons and stuff like that, or whatever configurations they want.
Things like that.
But for me as a turntablist, I use two turntables and a mixer. A lot of my tour shows or whenever I'm traveling, I play at the lake a lot. I use CDJs also because in the heat of the summer, the sun won't melt a platter on a CDJ, but it will melt your records and warp them. I actually played at Rose last summer, the show before Fortune Fest, and it was Kid Disco, and my records got so hot that they warped on the turntables.
Oh man, brutal.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah, that heat'll do it to the old vinyl records for sure. Yeah. All right, so two turntables, then your mixer, and then you just go at it from there.
Yeah, and I run Serato.
What's that?
Serato is a digitally analoging program that will take your music library from your computer and digitally analog it to your mixer and through your soundboard. So cool. So that way you don't have to carry crates of records with you. You can always just have your music library on a computer and go from there with their program. And they also do all the plugins for the video DJing, and they have like Serato Itch and a bunch of all kinds of software that they have for the turntablist or for the producer.
Let me know a little bit about other guys that are in your business that you respect, that you think are worth seeing if people have an opportunity.
Definitely, since I'm so eclectic, I'm gonna say a lot of different artists, but Run the Jewels, definitely. Lizzo, she's an up and coming amazing artist. I saw her at Voodoo Fest in New Orleans back on Halloween, and she has a hell of a stage setup, full female crew, all of her stagehands, everyone that works with her, they're like about women's empowerment, and she's a great up and coming artist, and I don't know, there's so many, too many to name.
Right.
But yeah, those are a couple that I definitely love and respect. A lot of our local guys, too. There's so many bands and acts and just everyone here in the community here in mid-Missouri is they just blow me away, and I love going out and representing, and drop me a line, guys, like if you're listening, let's get together, grab a coffee, talk music anytime, so
yeah. Once again, the contact information, if you don't mind.
IamRequiem.com, and
you can also find him on social media. I got you on Instagram, and right,
I'm Requiem_DJ on Instagram, and Alex Campbell-Graves on Facebook. So
right on. Okay, what you got coming up? Anything planned for the spring here?
Right now I've got a lot of gigs with my Thursdays, Fridays here locally. I got my Blue Note shows, obviously. Traveling to Malibu, traveling to Vegas. That's about it for my spring. Late spring, I'll be starting back at the lake. I do some stuff with Tucker Shuckers and Backwater Jacks.
Nice.
Two really great venues down there if you haven't been. But yeah, just be on the lookout. I'll be all around, and come vibe with me next to the pool or in the nightclub. So.
Yeah, he's easy to find. He's out and about quite a bit out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, we are just about running out of time. I'm going to have you grab something that's about 4 minutes long, maybe, if you can do that, while I kind of wrap things up here.
Yeah.
But stick around. We got Diana Moxon with Speaking of the Arts coming up in just about 4.5 minutes. I will be back next week with Mercer and Johnson and Loose, and we'll kind of split the show between those two bands, and I'm looking forward to it. Enjoy this weekend. Once again, it's First Friday, so there's a lot going on. I didn't even do a rundown of what was happening. Normally we do that, but me and Alex got so busy talking here, we didn't even tell anybody what was happening around town. I normally go through Rose and Blue Note and every Roachport store, tell everybody who's playing, whatever. Anyway, but we'll let Diana take care of that, because I'm sure she's going to give you the information in just a little bit here. All right, we're running out of time, so I will say goodbye. Enjoy the weekend. Be cool to yourself. Be cool to other people. Alex, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you, and thank you guys for listening.
All right, everybody. It's Mike, Open Mic Radio, KOPN Columbia, and DJ Requiem. Awesome stuff. Thanks, man.
Said a story told. Baby, now I got the flow. Cause I knew it from the start. Baby, when you broke my heart, that I had to come again and show you that I'd win. You lied to me. All those times I said that I loved you. You lied to me. Yes, I tried. Yes, I tried. You lied to me. Even though you knew I'd die for you. You lied to me. Yes, I cried. Yes, I cried. Return of the man. It is. Return of the man. Come on. Return of the man. Oh my God. You know that I'll be back. Here I am. Return of the man. Once again. Return. a day. Running banks to take my swine. Letting all the people know that I'm back to run the show. Cause what you did, you know was wrong. And all the nasty things you done. So baby, listen carefully while I sing my comeback song. You lied to me. Cause she said she'd never turn on me. You lied to me. But you did, but you did. You lied to me. All this pain you said I'd never feel. You lied to me. But I do, you do. Come on. Oh my God. Here I am. Once again. Top of the world. Watch my flow. Don't you know? Yes it is. Return of the man. Yes it is. Return of the man. Yes it is. You know that I've been there. Oh. Return of the man. Yes it is. Return of the man. Yes it is. Return of the man. Yes it is. You know